Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a question I hear all the time. How do you tell the difference between ADHD and dissociation spells or experiences? On the surface, they can look really similar. Both can involve losing track of time, forgetting what someone just said, or feeling like your attention slipped away. But the reason behind those experiences and the way they feel in your body are actually very different. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the differences between ADHD and dissociation experiences, why it matters, and what you can look for in yourself or somebody that you care about. I just want to make a quick reminder before we start. This is educational only. It's not a substitute for therapy, diagnosis, or medical advice. If you hear things today that sound familiar, I encourage you to reach out to a licensed provider for an assessment and support. Okay, what is ADHD? ADHD, otherwise known as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, is a neurodevelopment condition. That means it's rooted in how the brain develops and functions, particularly areas that regulate attention, focus, and impulse control. People with ADHD often struggle with attention regulation, not just being distracted, but swinging between too distracted and sometimes being hyper focused on one thing. So, here are a few classic ADHD attention patterns. Distractibility. Your mind jumps from one thing to another, especially if the task is boring or repetitive. Hyperfocused, you get locked onto one thing so deeply that you lose track of time, even if hours pass. Forgetfulness, not because your memory is broken, but because your attention never fully grabbed the information in the first place. Think about reading a book. If you have ADHD, you might read 3 pages realizing you've been daydreaming about lunch the whole time and none of the words actually landed. That's an attention regulation issue. Now we go to what is dissociation. Dissociation is different. It's not about developmental wiring, it's about protection. Dissociation is what the mind and body do when the nervous system feels overwhelmed, unsafe, or overloaded. It's a kind of mental escape hatch. There are few forms: mild detachment, zoning out, feeling spacey; depersonalization, feeling like you're outside your body or watching yourself; derealization, where the world feels unreal, hazy, or dreamlike; dissociative amnesia, where memory gaps, where you generally don't recall what has happened. Here's the key in dissociation. It's not that your attention drifted to something else. It's that your attention went offline completely. The information may have been encoded, but it gets walled off and becomes inaccessible. For example, you might drive home and realize you don't remember the last 5 exits. That blank spot isn't simply distracted, it's like you weren't fully present for a part of the experience. Now let's talk about comparing the two. Side by side, cause ADHD comes from brain wiring differences and attention networks. Dissociation comes from the nervous system reacting to stress or trauma. Attention drift, ADHD looks like bouncing between stimuli, being pulled in by every sound or thought. Dissociation looks like sudden blankness, like you disappeared for a moment. Memory. When we talk about ADHD, the info never fully processed in the first place. With dissociation, it might have been processed and later can become accessible or remain inaccessible. Body cues, ADHD comes with restlessness, fidgety, energy-seeking stimulation, while dissociation comes with numbness, heaviness, or feeling like you're floating away. Let's put this in context. ADHD lapses can happen at any time, but dissociation is more likely after stress, reminders of past trauma, or during emotional overwhelm. So ADHD might sound like, oh, sorry, I wasn't listening. I got distracted thinking about something else. Or dissociation might sound like, wait, I thought I was paying attention, but it's just gone. I feel like I wasn't even there. Why the distinction matters? I work with clients who experiences both of these at the same time. This isn't just an academic difference. It really matters. Treatment is different. ADHD responds well to medication, structure, external reminders, and strategies for regulating attention, whereas dissociation requires grounding techniques, therapy that addresses trauma, and ways to help the nervous system feel safe. Misdiagnosis is common. A person who dissociates might be told they have ADHD because they look spacey or forgetful. On the other hand, someone with ADHD might think they're traumatized because they zone out so much. And again, coexistence is possible. Some people actually have both. ADHD can make life feel chaotic, which creates stress, which can then trigger a dissociative episode. Understanding both helps providers create the right treatment plan. Practical ways to tell them apart. So, how do you tell if you're dealing with ADHD, dissociation, or both? Here are some practical strategies. Notice the triggers. ADHD lapses often happen with boredom or overstimulation. Dissociation is more likely with stress, reminders of trauma, or intense emotions. Check your body cues. With ADHD, the body wants movement, tapping, fidgeting, restless energy. With dissociation, the body often feels still, heavy, or numb, almost frozen. Try different strategies if you have to. ADHD usually improves when you add stimulation, music, movement, something novel. Dissociation improves when you go and ground yourself, deep breathing, naming 5 things you see, orienting yourself to the present. These differences can be really helpful clues. Let's talk about grounding and regulation. I also want to pause here and offer something practical. If you ever feel unsure, am I dissociating or is it ADHD? Try a quick experiment. Put both feet flat on the ground. Take a slow breath and release. Name 5 colors you see in the room. Notice if that helps you feel more present. If that pulls you back, the likelihood is you've been dissociating. But if what you need is more stimulation like music, a timer, or moving your body, that points more towards ADHD attention regulation. When to seek support. If you recognize yourself in either of these descriptions, it's definitely worth reaching out. A mental health professional can help sort out whether you're experiencing ADHD, dissociation, or even both. Sometimes that means psychological testing. Sometimes it means therapy to explore trauma. Sometimes it means working with a psychiatrist for ADHD medications or your primary care provider. Just remember, struggling with attention, memory, or zoning out doesn't mean you're broken. These are patterns with explanations, and with the right support, you can find strategies that work. So, to wrap up, let's recap. ADHD is about attention regulation. Attention slips, distractibility, hyperfocus, whereas dissociation is about protection, the mind stepping out when things feel overwhelming. They look similar on the outside, but internally they feel different. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments. Have you ever confused ADHD with dissociation or felt unsure about which one you were experiencing? And if you want more videos like this, deep dives into psychology, trauma, and the brain, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Thanks for watching, and remember, whether your attention drifts or your mind sometimes checks out, you're not alone. And understanding the differences is the first step towards healing and support.